The defensive front in Indianapolis is facing a massive transformation that could define the next decade of Colts football. With Quiddipe heading to Las Vegas, a massive hole has opened up on our defensive line, and the pressure is falling squarely on one young shoulder. It is a gamble that has fans holding their breath across Indiana. If you love this team and want the latest inside scoops on every major roster move, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell right now. We are diving deep. Daylon Tuamaloau is now the man standing in the spotlight, and the weight of this defensive line rests on his ability to take a massive leap forward. Our general manager, Chris Ballard, has essentially cleared the deck to give this young pass rusher a legitimate chance to prove he belongs in the starting lineup. It is a bold strategy, especially when you consider that the veteran presence we relied on for years is simply gone. Quiddipe took a 3-year deal with the Raiders, leaving a void that felt immediate and painful for those of us who watched him develop. But the exodus did not stop there. We also saw Samson Ebukam head to Atlanta and Tyquan Lewis walk away in free agency. This left the cupboard looking dangerously bare for a while. Ballard did not just sit on his hands, though. He brought in veterans like Arden Key and Michael Clemens to provide some veteran stability, and he even used late-round picks on George Gums Jr. and Caden Curry to fill out the room. Even with those additions, the clear message coming out of the front office is that this second-year defender is the one they are betting on. During his pre-draft press conference, Ballard was very direct about the situation, stating that this young man is going to compete to start. It is a high-stakes decision because the production from his rookie season does not necessarily scream NFL starter just yet. He appeared in 13 games last year, mostly in a rotational role, and his season ended early due to an oblique injury against the 49ers. He only finished with 17 tackles and 1 tackle for loss. That is not a stat line that makes opposing quarterbacks tremble. However, the coaching staff sees things in practice and in his physical traits that the box score does not show. They are looking at his upside and his frame, believing he can be the perfect complement to Laiatu Latu on the other side. This is the vision Ballard has for the future of our pass rush. It is a plan built on potential rather than proven results, and it means everything for the 2026 season. Exploring the transition from a backup role to a primary starter is never easy in this league, and for this young defensive end, the challenge is even greater. Last season, he was buried on the depth chart behind established veterans who took the Lions' share of the snaps. He was only on the field for about a quarter of the defensive plays, which makes it hard for any player to find a consistent rhythm or get a feel for the speed of the professional game. He spent a significant amount of time on special teams, doing the dirty work that rookies often have to do to earn their stripes. When you look back at his collegiate tape and his draft profile, you see a player who was always expected to be the successor to the starting role. But the timeline has been moved up significantly because of how free agency played out this spring. The front office is essentially asking him to grow up fast. They are not just looking for a rotational piece anymore, they need a cornerstone. Front office believes his physical tools and his work ethic will allow him to bridge that gap between being a prospect and being a playmaker. We have seen this story before in Indianapolis, where a young player is thrust into a starting role and either sinks or swims. The what-if surrounding his development is the biggest question mark hanging over the entire defense right now. If he can turn those 6 quarterback hits from last year into actual sacks, this defense becomes a completely different animal. If he can use his strength to set the edge against the run, it frees up the linebackers to make plays in the hole. There is a specific kind of internal pressure that comes when a general manager publicly names you as the primary competitor for a starting job. It means the safety net is gone. The veteran leaders who used to mentor him are now in different jerseys, and he has to be the one providing the energy. This is about more than just technique. It is about the mental toughness required to handle 300-pound tackles every single Sunday. The impact of this decision ripples through every single part of the Colts roster and our chances of actually winning games this year. In the modern NFL, if you cannot hit the quarterback, you cannot win. It is that simple. By putting so much faith in a second-year player with limited production, the team is taking a massive risk that could lead to a lot of high-scoring games for our opponents. If the pass rush fails to materialize from the edge, our secondary will be left on an island, exposed to every elite passer in the division. This could mean the difference between a playoff run and another disappointing season watching from home. We have to remember that the front office has a very specific history when it comes to drafting defensive ends in the second round. For years, those picks have not always panned out, creating a cycle of searching for answers that never quite arrive. This young man needs to be the one who breaks that curse. If he succeeds, it validates the entire scouting process and gives the team a cheap, productive starter for years to come. That kind of roster value is like gold in a league with a strict salary cap. It allows the team to spend money elsewhere, like on the offensive line or a star wide receiver. But if the experiment fails, the consequences are dire. It would mean the team wasted another high draft pick and let productive veterans walk away for nothing. The pressure on Chris Ballard is reaching a boiling point, and he knows it. He needs this specific player to become a household name for the right reasons. Fans are tired of hearing about potential and upside while watching opposing quarterbacks have all day to throw the football. We want to see results on the field, not just projections on a spreadsheet. Every game this season will be a test of whether this gamble was a stroke of genius or a desperate hope. The stakes are as high as they have ever been for this regime, and the clock is ticking on their vision for this team. Let's look at the two very different paths this story could take as we head into the new season. In the best-case scenario, this young defender enters training camp with a chip on his shoulder and a completely transformed body. He uses the experience from his 13 games as a rookie to anticipate snaps better and blow past offensive tackles before they can even set their feet. He forms a terrifying duo with the new rookie addition, creating a pincer move that keeps every quarterback in the AFC South looking over their shoulder. In this world, the Colts' defense becomes a top 10 unit. The stadium is rocking. And we finally have the dominant pass rush we have been dreaming of since the days of Mathis and Freeney. It would be a beautiful sight to see a young core finally coming together to lead us back to the postseason. However, we also have to be realistic about the worst-case scenario. If he struggles to adjust to the increased workload, or if that oblique injury lingers and saps his explosiveness, the defensive line becomes a major liability. We could see teams running the ball right at him, knowing he might not have the veteran savvy yet to hold his ground. This would force the coaches to rely heavily on the late-round rookies or the veteran additions who might be past their prime. It would lead to long drives for our opponents, a tired defense, and a lot of frustration in the stands. The margin for error is razor thin, because the team decided not to bring back the proven production of the players who left. It is a high-wire act without a net. The tension in the building during those first few weeks of the season is going to be palpable. Every snap he takes will be analyzed and critiqued by everyone from the local media to the fans in the nosebleed seats. This is the reality of being a second-round pick in a city that expects excellence. He has the opportunity of a lifetime, but the road is paved with obstacles that have tripped up many talented players before him. At the end of the day, the Indianapolis Colts are betting the house on internal growth rather than outside help. It is a philosophy that Chris Ballard has stuck to for years, but it has never felt more urgent than it does right now with this defensive end. We are moving away from the stability of the past and stepping into an uncertain future. This young man has the talent, the frame, and the backing of the front office, but he lacks the one thing you cannot teach: experience. It is going to be a roller coaster ride for all of us watching from the sidelines as we navigate this transition together as fans. I want to hear from you, the heart and soul of this fan base. Be honest with me. Do you truly trust a second-year player with 17 career tackles to lead our pass rush into a new era? Or do you think the front office made a massive mistake by letting our veterans walk away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I read every single one. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video and subscribe so you never miss an update on our beloved Colts.